Here's what nobody tells you about burnout. Rest alone does not fix it. And the way that most people try to recover from burnout actually ends up making it worse. I'm Sushmita, but you can call me Sushi, and on this channel, I help you master your mind through yoga. And if you feel like you've been running on discipline and willpower just to get through this rough patch, but your body just somehow isn't cooperating, then that's why I'm here. And no matter how much sleep and how much rest you have, you just end up waking up feeling like you're starting from zero. You're not lazy, you're running on empty. And you're running on empty in a way that sleep and rest and taking time off cannot fix. And so you're simultaneously exhausted and unable to regulate. So you're overwhelmed and flat and wired all at once. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you've literally run out of the biological resources needed to hold yourself together in that way. And this isn't some kind of character flaw that you need to spend years in therapy talking about to fix. It's basic physiology, and your yoga practice could be the inexpensive, sustainable, long-term and time-tested way to replenish those reserves on a day-to-day basis. Now, before I jump ahead and tell you that every one of your problems can be solved with yoga, we need to examine why you haven't been able to take the standard advice of sleep more, take a break, and just run with it and get it done. That advice, though it's useful and it gets you off the hamster wheel, is almost dangerously incomplete because almost every burnt out high achiever that I know has fallen into the same exact trap, which is you recognize that you've been overworking. You recognize, okay, now I need to recover, I need to stop doing so much, and so you swing to the opposite extreme. You quit your job, you book that retreat, you sign up to hot yoga every single morning, and then you do a sound bath every single evening, and you now have a full-blown recovery wellness schedule that is just as demanding as the work schedule that once broke you. But none of those things, none of those extremes is actual recovery or is the actual solution for your burnout. Both of these are the same nervous system pattern wearing a different outfit. It's kind of like you're either pushing too hard and optimizing everything, or you're collapsing and you're completely numbing out and you're not doing anything at all. And the Yoga Sutras have a phrase that genuinely gives you an idea of what recovery looks like. Sthiram, sukham, asanam. Steady effort combined with ease. And so we need to keep this in balance simultaneously in your daily life, not running away from all of your duties and escaping it. Burnout is actually a result of a life that's totally built on sthira. Full effort, all discipline, forward motion, all the good things, without any sukham, ease, spaciousness, expansion. And real recovery is not the absence of effort. It's learning, maybe for the first time in your life, to simultaneously hold both at once. And what shifted for me wasn't adding more, wasn't optimizing my routine, wasn't waking up earlier, or it wasn't like cutting everything out and just doing something completely different. It was actually learning to listen to my breath, not as like a breath technique, but as a barometer of truth. Because the breath never lies. Sometimes when we're trying to force ourselves to move through the poses and we're just going through the motions, we begin to notice that we're no longer able to pull the breath from the navel up to the upper chest. Yeah, and I noticed that there's this urgency behind it, that my thoughts were taking up too much of the airtime, and it didn't leave any space for that conversation, for me to just stay with the count of the breath. And once I began to let the breath be the guide, to just do that one thing, just breathe, I felt like I was like a small child, sitting on top of their hands, just counting from 0 to 100 until I could reach the marshmallow. And I slowly began my path to genuine recovery only when I dropped all of these fancy ideas and I came down to something as simple as the breath. And the first thing I need you to understand is this. Your yoga practice should support and give energy to the rest of your life. It shouldn't exhaust you. It shouldn't become this other obligation on this massive list of things that you have to do. And so this is the real test. After you finish your practice, regular Thursday morning practice, do you feel more alive? Do you feel like you have more energy? Or are you sore and depleted and you feel so drained that you can't do anything else? So for achieving burnt out practitioners that I have in my class, the answer somehow always seems to be that they're more depleted, more sore. And that is the signal that we need to pay attention to. That your yoga is like something is missing from it because the way you've been practicing is continuing to spend more of that ATP, spend more of that energy that you literally don't have to spend. You're broke and you don't have anything to spend. So here are some simple principles that I want you to start following. You can even start following this from tomorrow, today, whenever, and this will completely impact the way that you practice. And the first principle is to use the breath as your pacing guide. So in Ashtanga, we have this Ujjayi pranayama, which is a soft, audible breath that you breathe through the nose, and this directly activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And beyond all of the technique and all of that, I just want you to say your breath is genuinely the most honest feedback tool that you have from the moment you're born till the moment you die. If your breath becomes forced or harsh or held during a pause, your body has literally just spoken to you. Your body has literally told you that you've crossed from this place of your practice being restorative to it depleting you in some way. And it's asking energy that your system cannot give. And this is the practice. Stay within the capacity of the breath. So the moment you notice it's tightening, then soften, slow down, simplify, do less. And this is not a sign of weakness. For someone in recovery, that single skill, staying within what your breath has capacity for and can honestly sustain, it's worth way more than any advanced posture that you can do. It's better than any like horse stance and then ice bath, Wim Hof breathing technique and hyperventilating. It's far better for your nervous system because it's teaching you something that you haven't learned anywhere else in your life. It's listening to yourself. It's stopping when you've exceeded the capacity of your breath. And I know this can be a little bit abstract, but I just want you to try this. Maybe after this video, sit down, take a few breaths, and then start your 12 slow Ujjayi breaths. And I want you to follow the quality of the breath. I want you to stay with what is the capacity of my breath. Can I stay within the capacity of my lungs with each inhale and exhale? Not more, not less. Try and confine your attention and only allow your breath to breathe as much as it wants to breathe. And so this will then become your barometer and will change so many things for you. The second principle is a lifestyle of less stimulation. So you can't just do yoga on the mat and then be bhoga off the mat. Your practice starts the night before. So it's not the moment that you step on the mat in the morning. It's actually the choices that you've made yesterday around sleep, around stimulation, around how much noise you allow into your nervous system. And all of those things are your practice. The way you live, that is yoga. That is your practice. So the discipline to say no to that second coffee in the afternoon and to just allow yourself to be present even though you feel a bit sleepy and not as on, that is discipline. That is yoga. The discipline to set and have a regular bedtime every single day and allow yourself to not scroll before you sleep and actually wind down, that is yoga. Truly, the less you flood your nervous system with stimulation, the less you need to do all of this effort to restore it. Because you cannot just layer a bunch of wellness routines on top of an overstimulated life. They kind of just cancel each other out, right? So your lifestyle and your practice have to go hand in hand. And in recovery, that means consciously reducing your input, reducing noise, allowing the system to settle more. It's not something that you do once and then it stays. It's that you have to do it in all the seasons of your life, moment to moment, sometimes even multiple times a day. Because even if you just take 10 minutes, you're at your desk and you decide, I'm going to do these 12 conscious breaths. I'm going to activate my aerobic system fully and I'm going to give it back the energy that it's been, that's completely been depleted. It's far more fruitful than 90 minutes of a distracted, performance-driven asana class. Because the aerobic system, the thing that actually sustains us and the thing that's completely destroyed for you right now because of the burnout, it only responds to one stimulus. Small, consistent, non-exhausting effort that's repeated over time. So it requires patience, not intensity. And the third principle is to practice doing less. You heard me right. less. The invitation, and I know this is uncomfortable for all of the high achievers out there listening to me, it's that you need to stop before you're exhausted. So you need to practice doing less than you think you need to do. Stop before you're done. So if your usual practice is 60 minutes, choose the 45-minute practice. Stop at a point where you still have something left in your reserves. Not because you're lazy, not because you can't do it, but because you're literally in the container of your practice, in this one little lab of your life, you're practicing to say no. You're finally practicing the thing that burnout kind of took away from you in the first place, which is your ability to stop voluntarily before your body forces you to. And many of my students, the most high achieving, the busiest minds of them all, they find this to be the hardest thing they've ever done, to stop when they could do something. It's harder than waking up in the morning at 5 a.m. and coming for class. It's harder than Utlatihi, to choose to stop when you still have something left in the tank. But this is the practice of yoga, and this is what will really truly start to replenish those reserves. And when you start to practice this way, slowly, with the breath, with genuine sense of sukha, with genuine sense of ease alongside this effort, something begins to start to shift in your practice. It's a little subtle at first, you may not notice it, but that flatness in your life begins to lift. It's not dramatic, nothing crazy happens, you don't have visions of God. It just happens in small ways. It happens in the moment when you genuinely feel present with your kids or at work, when something that, that you see actually reaches you, it actually moves you. It's not this performed sense of like a smile on my face, I need to get through the day. It's because this actual sense of feeling landed in your body. And then your relationship with rest will begin to change. It's not something that you have to earn because you put yourself through everything that you had to do. It becomes something that you consciously, deliberately invite into your life, because that's the way you just move through the day. You don't just push through it. And I see that this is the most beautiful thing that you can do, because I see this time and time again with the people that I work with inside my program. It's that work and life and all the obligations, that starts to become sustainable. Not because you lowered your standards or because you're doing less than you could be doing, but because you learned how to bring real, genuine ease, real sukham into the way you move towards your goals. And those goals are going to be there. It's just that you really begin to see it differently. It took me 5 months of living here in India full time to figure this out. I've been in Mysore for a month, and then I did an Upanishadic retreat, and then I went to the ashram in Pune, and then I went to this teacher training thing where I was working with the last living masters from Krishnamacharya's time. 2 more months of Mysore. I'm telling you, it was intense, and it's still intense. It started to finally make sense to me that I don't need to rush towards my goals. I don't need to be living in this sprint. I can actually pace myself, and I can actually learn to live in a way that's truly, really yogic. And what would it mean for you if you genuinely looked at your daily life as a way of replenishing your energy through yoga, through little bits of, things that you can do to replenish the reserves instead of constantly draining the reserve? And a properly oriented practice, a sadhana, can genuinely create a life like this. But it's only when we stop treating yoga as this high performance recovery tool and we start treating it as just an honest conversation that we're having day to day with our nervous system exactly where it is. If something that I said in this video today landed for you, and if you recognized yourself in what I described, then I want to invite you to take the next step. Recovery from burnout isn't something that you do on your own in your room using a journal. It's very much a thing that you can do in community with support. And I've seen far too many people try to figure this out alone. I was one of those people. I just refused to give money to another person to help me with this. But when I did, and when I finally allowed myself to get help, I noticed what I was genuinely missing. And the thing that actually matters is having someone with you who can meet you where you are today and walk you through the process step by step, And that's exactly what the Yoga Mastery program does. It has breath work, the philosophy, the sequences, all of it. So there is a link in the description below to set up a free call with me. Even if you're not sure if the program is for you, exactly, feel free to book the call and then we can discover that on the call. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video all the way till the end. And if this helped you see your exhaustion differently, make sure you share this and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy that you're here with me on this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.